Sophia, hello.
Hello.
What's your second name?
Kwame.
Kwemi. Where is that? Where does that originate?
My father is from the Ivory Coast in West Africa, so that's where it's from. And my mother is French.
And you are a yoga instructor,
Yes.
or and what else? A mother?
A mother of 3 boys, 14-year-olds, 12 and 9. So.
And is it fair to just call you just a yoga? Well, it's not just a yoga teacher, but a yoga instructor. Do you do other things as well? Do you do meditation? And I think you have quite a wide range of kind of what can we call them? Well-being offerings. Is that right?
Yes, indeed. I think it's important for one to define what yoga is. And as far as I'm concerned, it includes the practice of meditation. So that is part of my practice. And this is something I share with whoever I come across on the mat.
Sure. On the mat. I like that.
Yeah.
Rodney.
Hi.
How do you pronounce your surname?
It's Kenterby.
Kenterby. I was going to say Kintabi because it sounded kind of slightly more exotic.
Well, it is.
You're London, obviously born and bred by the sound of it.
Well, no, actually, from Manchester. I've been, I'm from Old Trafford in Manchester. So I've been down this part of the world for 25 years now.
So you're sounding a bit posh.
I sound a bit posh, yes. Yes, just a bit.
And would you describe yourself as a fitness coach, fitness instructor?
I'd like to think of myself as a fitness coach, consultant.
What does it say on your passport?
Gym manager, stroke, gym instructor. I think gym instructor sounds a bit vague. I think what we do is we more consult, we more help and educate. I'd like to be called that rather than a gym instructor. It's a bit vague, so I like to be called something slightly different. I think we do a lot more than just instruct. We listen a lot and slightly bit of counselling in a way, maybe.
That's interesting straight away because it's that's something I'm going to kind of ask you both about a little bit later on. Is the relevance of fitness and how it ties in with mental health and people's psychology. And you feel free to ask each other questions about what you do because you're although it's all about physical well-being, it's already gone beyond that. It's already about mental well-being and helping people out in more than one way. How did you first get into yoga, Sophia?
I got into yoga quite some time ago. As far as I remember, a friend took me to a class in Thames Ditton. Very much enjoyed it. I was, at the time, I came to realize, very much disconnected between what was going on up here in my head and that body. And that first class actually taught me that I had a body and came to realize how it felt and thought, wow, there was so much to learn from this, and the relaxation at the end, just a bonus, which I also welcome very much. At the time, I already had my children.
I was going to say, that was my next question. Were you already a mum?
Yes, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and actually, just to come back to what you said at the very beginning, saying that the two practices, or Colets and what I do as a yoga practitioner, just come together in a way as opposed to move apart. It's really beautiful that we look at the students and whoever comes across our path as a whole.
Yes.
Because there's probably been a time when we just looked at the person and they're training just the body, when actually it's amazing to approach it as a whole, holistic approach.
Because it's all connected. Well,
exactly.
Everything's there's nothing separate. There should be nothing separating somebody's well-being from the mind to the body as well. I think it all should be associated together.
Yeah.
And if it works together, both at the same time, they're helping each other. That's helping the person as well. I think that's one of the most important things that I've learned. That it's not. I think if you can get somebody to do just a simple thing like achieve weight loss or achieve a goal where they're actually running faster, that improves their mental state as well. And so the two together can work really well. And it's not always about training somebody. I've learned over the years that I've got more out of somebody that's kind of changed the colour of their clothes to actually changing something that they've actually run on a treadmill for 20 minutes. I watch people when they come in, when I first see them, if they think they're slightly overweight, their colour scheme changes from being baggy and black to when they're actually happy with themselves. You notice their clothes get a bit tighter, the colours vary. So I know we're on the right track. Yeah. It's just a simple thing like that. A colour changes colour. Yeah. It's a mood changer as well. Yeah. So those little things I look for. I'm not too interested really in somebody who's lost, excess weight or they've run a 4-minute mile. I'm noticing the changes by clothes or how they feel, how they're smiling, how they, the colour of the clothes.
Interact with other people in the club or more talkative.
It's fascinating because my own personal experience, and Rodney would be able to confirm this. I don't go to the gym a lot, maybe once a week, twice a week if I can. But before it was about 10 years ago, I was in a terrible relationship. I mean, really, really terrible. It took me to a nervous breakdown, and one of the things my counsellor said at the time, who was helping me get out of it, was you need to get fit. You need to look at physical training and the physical side of your existence, and that's when I went down, joined the gym, and I think I was on antidepressants at the time, and within 2 or 3 months at the gym, I didn't need them anymore, and it had such a profound effect on me. And it's almost a cliche. People say, "Oh yeah, you've got to get your mind and body are linked." But as far as that particular point in my life was concerned, I'd never been to the gym, never even thought about it. I was just too preoccupied, too lazy, to all of the things that people say they're to doing too much of in order to have any excuse not to go through the pain and suffering of training and exercise. And it made such a difference to me. How did you get into it, Rodney?
I've always been into my sport and fitness since school. Since my PE teacher, we had a school sports day. It's the last day of school, 16 years old. It was a hurdle competition, 80-meter hurdles. Never done it before, but I won it easily. I won it that well. I actually looked back and watched everybody coming over the last hurdle.
Did you blaze it?
I blazed it. I just followed. I just watched a particular sport and I just liked it. So the PE teacher came up to me that day and said, "I think you should go to a sports club." So in Manchester, the next day, I joined a running club, and then that's when it started. Really, I started training pretty good. Ran from a county, and then I started playing basketball at the same time. Played really well, played for Manchester Giants, so I did all that. And then in the jobs I was doing, when I came down here, I still was playing basketball, but obviously I have to earn a living. So athletics and basketball took a bit of a back burner, but I still stayed true to my training. I've never stopped training. I've trained every day since I was probably about 17 or 18.
How long ago was that? Because I'm kind of curious about your age, because I know that you're probably older than you look.
Yeah, I'm 54.
No!
Wow. Well
Shit.
done. Okay, I'm signing up tomorrow at Colets.
So yeah, I'm 54.
Wow. That is black don't crack, isn't it?
It doesn't crack. Yeah. But I've always believed in training. I mean, it's something I've never stopped doing. So even when I was at my other jobs, I was on always customer service roles.
I'm sorry, I'm still reeling.
Sorry.
I bet I'm not going to go there with you because it's
impolite.
Impolite. So I'm not going to go there.
Should never. Sorry, so we won't.
Unless you want to tell us.
What do you want to tell us?
I'm 44.
Oh my God.
There you go.
I thought I was the oldest one in the room
I bet you.
by
Yeah,
far.
I knew you were going to think that. Yeah, but you're not. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh God, I feel.
But contrary to Rodney, I've been this tall since I'm 12.
Really?
But I was every PE's teacher nightmare. In a way, they would see me come and say, "Ooh, lots of prospect for this one. Really tall, long legs."
Netball, high jump, long jump.
And they'll see me run and think, "Ooh, no. I could not run. I could not do anything with my body you know. So
What is that coordination?
coordination and just couldn't do it, you know. And probably I grew up not doing many sports, so wasn't something for me, you know. But
So you can kind of sympathise with people like me and people like majority of people walking the streets. Is that getting into fitness and undertaking that first move to go and do something physical
Sure.
is a big deal.
yes,
Yeah.
it
It's
is.
really
And
hard, isn't it?
It's hard.
And in relation to the topic we're talking about is we live sedentary lives. We don't move as much as we could, and so on and so forth. So doing some exercise is beyond what could be healthy. It's beyond what could be recommended. We need to move. Full stop. Now it seems it helps in many ways, and you mentioned depression and mental health, but what we know very little about is the chemistry in the body, you know. And when we associate the mind and the body together, we come to realize actually it is vital to move, as opposed to sit where everything collapses, inside, outside. And so we need to move. Now, where I would come into the equation is to say, pause, watch how we move, how much we exercise, and how much we take it to the extreme also, because in our society there's very little understanding or acceptance around resting and relaxing. It's either sort of indulgence, luxury, or laziness, when that is equally vital. So
there's a fine line between training. I've noticed. I mean, I train now just to maintain the shape I'm not doing it for my sport anymore. I train twice a day, half an hour a day. That's it. What's happening now is with media and everything, it's all about getting a great big buzz, and you've got to do a HIIT class, and then you've got to go do something else, and then you've got to do something else. And if you're not training that much, then you're not achieving anything. So it's about training smarter, not actually training too much. You can train too much, you can overtrain, and that's when injuries happen. That's when you'll get so injured it'll put you off actually training in the first place. So then you get another lot of problems coming in with that. So it's so fine the line.
Isn't it about striking that balance?
Yes.
But very few people have an idea of where they stand. So either they do too little or they do too much, and equally those two extremes feed into something not ideal for the body, for the mind, because ultimately the big picture is we get distracted a lot. And Rodney, you mentioned social media, which puts on a lot of pressure and is 24 hours. But there is also what we forget is about doing a practice, whether it's at the gym or on the mat or just walking, whatever. It's doing practices that keep the body healthy, keeps us happy, so that it sustains us through the activities that we've got to deliver in the day.
You touched on sort of social media and and modern trends and pressure to not just be fit, but to look great. And you know that I've kind of observed younger people down at the gym, and not just there, but you know, when you go to hotels and you go on holiday and you be like that. Places like gyms in hotels used to be deserted.
Yes, yeah.
And now they're just full of you know, all of the young people that happen to be at the hotel, or gyms are being used probably more by young people now than ever.
Yeah, there's a big shift in
Nobody went to the gym when I was at school. Not a single person. But now, you know, you see all the guys from Isha College. They're all buff, aren't they?
16, 17-year-olds doing that. Yes, I didn't start going to the gym till I was about 25. Didn't go to the gym. My coach said, you don't need to go to the gym. You can do all the work on the basketball court or on the track. And now it's all about weights. I mean, I see a lot of rugby kids coming in now.
Low-level bodybuilding, isn't it?
It is. The 15, 16-year-olds, their muscles are still growing. I had a conversation with a parent, and she wants her son to come into the free weights area. He's 15. He's bigger than me, probably stronger than me, but he's still 16. He's still 16. His muscles are still growing, but his coaches at Harlequins or wherever it is are asking him to bulk up. And I don't really want him to bulk up that much, but if he doesn't, he's not going to make the team. So there's the pressure that this poor guy's getting. And yes, he is strong, but he's still, mentally speaking, he's still a 16-year-old. And his muscles are still growing. Never mind if they can lift more than me or whatever. So that is my little, I'm quite afraid of the way the coaches will want them to actually excel and make sure they push themselves a bit more. And that's when the injuries start. And it's sad to see that the poor child, he hasn't got a mind of his own. He's got to listen to what his coach said. Well, I listen to what my coach said. It's just a different era now. It's so different now than it was, 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
That's from a sports person's perspective. Yeah. But when you look at the young girls in the gym, who are dressed up, let's put it. We'll put that kind of.
They're dressed down.
Well, yes, that's even better. Yeah, actually, there you go.
Are they doing that for their Insta pages? Are they?
I think they are.
I don't know. I haven't been to the gym in ages now. Where I come from, the practice yoga, where yoga is different from all the other practices out there, and we can argue that yoga is very physical also, and for many reasons, it's great. It's good for the body. Then comes clarity in the mind, and with that clarity, then there can be one can make decisions. So I would say I do yoga. I practice yoga with teenagers, with children, predominantly with special needs, and all sorts. But I would say to a parent, but the parent stands there and has the responsibility for their children. Now, it's important for the parents to understand which choice can be made, So it's not the one and only pressure this child will have from this coach, but what is at stake? What is at stake? The child's well-being, full stop. So we have very short, we don't see things long term, and we get influenced by how things should be, must be. We want to keep up with the Jones, we want to be out there, and in that mix. And that's the thing today, when the parents also are caught up in that
body image thing
themselves. There is no way that they have enough distance to allow themselves to make the right decisions for their own children, because the children have to keep up. And it's not the first time that I hear that coaches out there just want the children to bulk up, but it's not right. At the moment, I see the teenagers come to my class, and actually we can say yoga is a strengthening practice for the body, but at the moment, none of them want to move. They just want a blanket, the eye bag, rest. Let's us give them a break so that they.
So you're saying that rather than the physical form of yoga, they want the meditational, the relaxing side of it. Are you saying they're craving more of one side than the other?
Yes, they're definitely craving more one side of the practice than another, and we can say. Yes, they crave that. They crave that. It's about meeting one's needs to self-regulate. And so when I need to run fast, I know how I can do that, and I can know, okay, I've reached my limits. Or when I need to sort of come down, I know what to do to bring myself down. So it's neither one thing is wrong, one thing is right, but it's about tuning into one's body, one's mind, one's needs, and being able to be literate enough to access all that's available out there, which is amazing. But with no idea, it becomes another addictive, extreme,
pastime,
unhelpful pastime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned breathing there. Do you teach anything about breathing?
I do a
'Cause
I do a couple of back care classes, for example.
Because they're saying now that nose breathing is the thing that you should concentrate on when you're doing anything physical.
Yeah, which is, if you're lifting heavy weights, to be honest, that's be the last thing you're actually going to think of, because you'd be tensing so much. And that's another thing, when you're training, you should learn to relax. But when when whatever age we are, we're trying to push a lot of weight, we tend to tense up because we're trying to do it. We either hold our breath or breathe out at the wrong time. So just to get somebody just to breathe in the right way is a challenge. But once that's mastered, you can do a lot of other things really simply.
That's fascinating, that crossover between breathing, relaxation, and combining the effort and making it work together.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, breathing is number one.
Yes.
Breathing is the key, because breathing is, first of all, the essence of life. The day we take that last breath, that's it. Yes. So, and that we have very little, we forget that. Now, it's a barometer of how we feel, and it's a bridge between the mind and the body. And it's also the easiest accessible self-regulating tool. So we start with the breath. Now, if I tell the teenagers, whether they have ADHD or any sort of condition, or any adult, let's breathe, they will panic, or they will run away and say Sophia is crazy.
What, because nobody's ever instructed them how to breathe
Yes,
appropriately?
because it's a bit weird. Let's breathe. Yes, I breathe already, but how one's breathe? So the idea is through movement to release, open the body, get rid of all the tension, the excess, and loosen up, so that the breath can start flowing, and then come back to the breath. So there are different techniques how to approach it, but the breath is key, I would say.
Okay. Sorry, that was probably a little bit too close.
That's all right.
You mentioned the fact that you train to maintain your body shape at the really old age of 54.
At my old age, at my tender, youthful age.
I think that's fascinating, because I find that when I first did the gym after my after what I was talking about earlier on, I was there sort of 3-4 times a week, and I went, oh yeah, great, feel great, really kind of changed my body shape completely away from that kind of Homer Simpson look. And which I've still got, but you looked at me,
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I was just
that big yellow stomach.
I was going to say, no, you haven't. You look fine.
I was going to ask you, how difficult does it get as you get older to maintain? Because I find that if you don't do anything for any amount of time, you suddenly start feeling weaker. You lose your what small amount of muscle you have.
I say to a lot of people, they always ask me, how do you maintain? I say, well, look, just because you make the decision to actually train, hopefully for the rest of your life, that doesn't mean the outside influences won't stop. You'll still get people asking you out for a drink, asking you to go to a hen do, a stag do. You'll still get people asking you. Just because you decide that you're going to train, you'll get all these outside influences. That's not going to stop. So I say embrace that, and be aware that's going to happen. You still got to do your day job. You still have to come in the early morning and train. You will feel better for it, but I guarantee you won't feel better for it if you don't train and you still go out on that stag night and you still do that. So I would say embrace
everything,
the outside influences of your life, because that will never change. That's always going to happen. And people will respect you a lot more if you actually say, okay, I'm still going to come out, but actually I might not even drink that much today because I'm going to train tomorrow morning. I'm going to work really hard, or I'm going to work really hard because I know I might be going out tomorrow night or whatever. So embrace the outside influences of your life and just accept it's what it is. I accept that somebody's going to come and say, do you want to come out tomorrow? But I'll still train. I'll still get up early in the morning, no matter what time it's happened the previous night. But that's a discipline. That's my discipline. Because I know what it does for me. I know what it has done for me because I haven't stopped doing it. And what a lot of people do is that they train and they think, well, I'm just going to train for a year because then I'll be all right, then it'll be over. But it's a long-term thing. This is a life-changing thing you're going to be doing. It's not just a short-term thing. It's the journey. It's not the end result. It's the journey. And the journey should never end anyway. You'll just keep meandering. You come to a little stream. You might have to cross it. You might come to a dam. You might need to build through it. You might need to do loads of different things. But you will get there eventually. But you just change the way you train over the period of your life. I've changed. I've had some clients that I've had for 6, 7, 8 years. And we've gone from training physically, really strong, to more of a more holistic way of doing it, more flexibility, because over time we've just adapted, and that's what it's all about. You just adapt.
What about the older people that you see down at the gyms?
I think it's great. I think, do you know why? Because they've actually realised at last that they want to get fit for their grandkids. They want to get fit for their children. They've got enough time on their hands to do things, and that's what's been happening. I've been at this club for 12 years now, and I've noticed that the demographics of age groups have actually swung more. There's a lot more under 20s coming into the gym, and there's a lot more over 40s coming into the gym as well. And that is exactly what I want, because who said you shouldn't be able to train well into your 80s and 90s? Our bodies are designed for movement, for locomotion, for strength, for everything. So I just think, for me personally, our bodies are a machine, and we spend probably more money on our cars than we do on our bodies. We service them, we wash them, we insure them, but what do we do for our bodies? And we've only got one body.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, I like that too.
The machine.
It's a machine.
It is.
It's a nice machine. It's a
it
great
is.
machine.
In yoga, we say it's the car. It's actually your car. We make a reference to a car. So the fuel we put in, how we service it, and then who drives it. Is going to break it.
Well, that's another story.
Or keep it going for as long as possible. Now, coming back to what you were saying about the age and the practice. Now, many can get stuck with the practice, their fitness routine from a few years ago, and want to still be doing that. So it's important, again, to tune into that body and say, okay, actually, again, back to what do they need? Because to try to keep with the same routine, the same regime, fitness regime from when they were 30 or coming back to it, is not going to be
sometimes
helpful,
it's kind of dangerous as well.
Dangerous, exactly. So it's always coming back to what one needs and adapting the practice, whether it's a time when one needs a bit more strengthening, a bit more cardio, a bit more resting also, because some might think that they feel really stressed and they may need, because of the cortisol inside their body, they may need to move, but they need to allow themselves to come back to a standstill.
Have either of you ever done Tai Chi?
Yes,
Have
I've
you
done
seen
a
it?
couple of
I've
times.
seen it.
Yeah.
I've tried it once or twice. One of the members that, in one of my classes, we used to do a couple of minutes after my class. And I like it because I run around at 200 miles an hour always, and it's good for me to slow down and it's beautiful the way it moves and it flows, and I think that's like life in a way. It just flows really well. So it is a beautiful thing to do, and I wish I had more time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that you do turn to in later life. That's why you see so many seniors doing it. But I did it for a year, and it was an amazing kind of revelation that it's a lot to do with kung fu and
fighting,
and defensive fighting, and when you kind of learn those movements, and they're all very slow and gentle and lilting, you speed them up. All of a sudden, you've got kung fu. Wow. But the great thing about it was that it teaches you how to be really stable in the lower half of your body by locking your hips and I haven't done it for probably 10 years, but even now when I'm moving around the kitchen, if I'm stepping back to go to take some tea out of the cupboard, to move around to get some rice out of a drawer, I do this kind of weird kind of Tai Chi kind of. I don't go like that, but I move my body and I place my feet so that I'm completely stable, which must be great for old people, because they're falling over left, right, and centre, aren't they?
Because
they're weakening and.
Sure.
So, I mean, the qualities of the
yoga must do the same.
Exactly, the qualities of the practice, and particularly the poses. It's developing steadiness, alertness, and while cultivating ease and comfort. So that's that's the same. So it's not about, again, being fixated and stuck and forcing into something, but really steadiness, alertness, awareness, and comfort and ease, which we take on the mat and off the mat.
I was going to ask you about grub, food, nutrition, and obviously there's in the sporting world there's lots of supplements which are available, and there's these young guys are sort of chugging back protein drinks like they're going out of fashion,
like it's gone out of fashion,
and they're some of the ingredients and the compounds that these so-called sports nutrition options have are questionable. There's stuff in those drinks and those formulas which are borderline illegal.
I think that's fair to say. True.
And I think that with younger athletes and younger people into fitness, they're kind of they see those sort of supplements as a bit of a kind of a shortcut to, I don't need to worry about going home and eating. I can just have a milkshake.
Rodney talked about discipline. And we want shortcuts. We want the 5 quick steps. Yeah. And I think the one time I listened to an interview, sorry, I cut you there,
no?
But the Buddha, the Dalai Lama, felt sad was one day at an interview when somebody asked him, okay, what is a quick step to get to enlightenment? What's the quick shortcut to get to enlightenment? And it's like...
It didn't say LSD or anything like that,
There's no shortcut. It takes effort. It takes effort. It takes discipline, and it takes that commitment time and commitment to oneself. And like you beautifully said in your analogy, how much time and we spend on our cars, on our houses, and we dress the body, but then again we will have very little understanding, appreciation, respect and acceptance, and realize how beautiful that body is, regardless. I work with children with CP, cerebral palsy. They have bodies in all sorts of shapes and forms, but they are beautiful beings. So the body is one thing, and there's the mind, there's the soul, and to see. But come back to the food.
Food does, obviously nutrition is kind of standard for sporting coaching and fitness and stuff like that. It's eating the right stuff.
You can eat too much of the good stuff as well. I say to everybody, look, you can have your cake and eat it, so to speak. You just got to be aware that even the most healthiest food you can eat, you can have too much of a good thing even. So have your cheat days, but have your better good days really as well. Be wary of how you eat and what time you eat. You don't need to have supplements. Supplements are, as they said, they're supplementing what you're actually doing. And you can get bogged down then because you're actually having more supplements than you are actually having a meal. Protein shakes, never tried them. I don't think you actually need them. You can, are you going to be on a protein shake for the rest of your life, or are you going to eat properly for the rest of your life, which is easier to do?
Well, the one thing about protein shakes that I found, because I did it because, I was going a little bit frantic those years ago. Great for recovery. If you obviously at my age, if you have a big session in the gym, in my case that's about 40 minutes.
It's still a big session.
But 40 minutes in the gym, and the day after, you go, it's almost impossible to move. Sure. But protein shake immediately after, but only a small amount, not a litre of it, stops you from making. Because it helps you recover.
I would question a practice why one would go to the gym and practice and feel completely depleted / burnt out after, rather than a practice that is fulfilling, that is re-energizing, that is, we talk often about cups being half full, half empty, or completely empty. So why is the practice not in itself helping one to replenish?
Well,
this is why
you say that. But I've been to yoga sessions where I go, oh my God, it's so it's not more than invigorating. It was almost exhausting. It was very demanding.
I agree with you. I mean, yoga is ever so popular at the it's been very popular, and so it's,
Then you add heat.
yes,
You add hot yoga
yeah.
into that.
Yes, but then one needs to know, okay, then that didn't work out for me. I mean, there are many practices out there, sort of rocket yoga and all sorts that
What's
have,
rocket yoga?
yes, it carries its name. It's just so sending us
Or you just go full on all the moves.
full on all the moves. So if it worked for some, good. If they feel invigorated and replenished and they feel full of energy in a way that can sustain them throughout their day and their week, good. But if I personally would go for a practice where I'm given the opportunity to arrive, to let all my trouble at the door, have the time to connect, to ground, and so connect with my breath, ground myself, and then get flowing.
So your practice is more visceral, more psychological.
It's done with awareness. It's done mindfully. An invitation is to do everything in life mindfully. So when we finish, we can flow, and again with that attitude that when it's too much for me, and I can tap into that, I can come down, and enough time to rest. And that's where I'm the big advocate to rest, which is today equivalent to laziness, indulgence, and luxury. But when it's ultimate, it's vital. It's vital. All our systems, the way we live our lives, and we've touched on social media, all the pressure regarding the food and what should be, could be, must be. We have so much around us that stimulates us, that we have very knowledge about. We just relax with TV, we relax with the phone, we relax even with a book or anything. But actually, it's important to bring our systems to a standstill so that they get the chance to replenish. You know, for me, when I think of flexibility and strength, flexibility is that possibility to tackle my challenges, you know, and move in my life up, down, and come to a position where I can keep functioning and not be caught up in anything toxic. Now, strength for me is that ability to restore my own body's intelligence to restore itself. People
are going to love the sound of this.
I don't know, but this is what I'm a big advocate
yes.
for, because that is empowering. And I'll tell you, if I have the time, last week I was called at the school for children, teens preparing for the A-levels, and the exams were on Monday, and we had a session together on the Friday. One of the boys played a bit cheeky and said, will I lose weight because he's got this calorie up, so will the yoga help him? How many calories will he lose? So fun. But at the end of the session, he was courageous enough to feedback that when he started, he felt little bombs dropping in his head. And at the end of the day, at the end of the session, he witnessed that he felt actually instead little water drops falling and feeling the ripples, the calm ripples. So I said to him, back to his original point, what is more helpful? The calories burning, or
the changing of your state of mind?
Or the change of your state of mind,
yes.
as a tool to go about one's life. And obviously, then that will trigger down to the positive thinking, the food, and one's choices, and realize, actually, I've got to take care of myself. And what does that mean for me?
Before I forget to ask you this, to say this, can you just tell us what your website is and what your kind of contact details are? Because I think people are going to love the sound of it. They're thinking, I've got to have I've got to get in touch with this lady. Do you know your website address?
Yes, my website is www.sophiayogaforall.com.
And to email you?
To email me, Sophia, SOPHIA, yogaforall, as FORALL, @yahoo.com. Thank you.
And Rodney, what are you up to? You've got to go back to work now.
I've got to get back to work. So, I give you my email address, which will be at Colets, because I'm always there.
You are always there.
You're always going to catch me there anyway, because I'm always there. So it's rodneyk@colets.co.uk.
And you do personal training. You do your consultation, as you said at the beginning.
Yeah, and basically, if anybody wants to come and have a chat and look at this great club that we've got, which is just
It's
it's
got
a beautiful
amazing
club.
facilities.
Yes.
Yeah, and such an array of classes and the swimming pool. It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, so
amazing.
Please
people.
come and have a look. Come and see what you think, because it's a great club.
It is. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and I hope that one day you can come back and we can sort of carry on where we left off.
I'd love to. Let's go ahead.
I'd love to.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.